So, hello, buddy. Thank you for joining the Node4 webinar, Elevate Efficiency and Cut Costs with Microsoft Copilot. My name is Bjorn Hirtenjohan, and today we've got our colleagues Nick Lloyd, who is working in the background on the Q&A and answering all your questions. And then with me as a co-presenter, we've got Jamie Holland, who will take you through some of our live demos. So let's get straight in. What's on the agenda today? So we've got quite a lot of topics and content here. Want to give you an overview and give you an overview on Microsoft Copilot and share some of the latest news from Microsoft Ignite with you. Then we jump into some of the demos of 365 Copilot, give you an overview also on Copilot Studio Agents, which is brand new. We follow that up. Jamie will do a short demo of how to use the Copilot agents. And then we also want to round it up with how can you measure your utilization of Copilot. There's some great functionality there. And of course, the Q&A. So with all that said, hopefully you will find this webinar useful. Why does Copilot exist? So obviously, the world is changing and we have lots of different technologies. Digital debt is always mentioned, and digital debt is costing us innovation. That is very clearly reflected in the fact that employees don't have enough time to do day-to-day jobs. Employees spend a lot of time communicating, spend a lot of time in meetings, and there's also a lot of time spent in creating content, writing emails. Emails is still probably one of the main communication methods used today. Creating, I don't know, PowerPoint slide decks, reports, anything you can think of. And all of this really is here where Copilot can help you advance and really be innovative and leverage Copilot to do all your day-to-day tasks in a much better way. So what is Copilot? Microsoft 365 Copilot is an agent, a functionality built into all the Microsoft 365 apps. So all the apps you see here, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams. So with that said, you have functionality built in that you can leverage. And how is all of this automation and really aiding you in your day-to-day tasks possible? So let's have a quick look at the Copilot architecture and why is Copilot so different from what compared to the things you could do yourself, for example, creating macros or other functionality. So the key message here is what is already available in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, which is here at the bottom, Microsoft Graph. So Graph is an API that brings all the different entities that make up Office 365, brings all of those together. So you've got your groups of users, you've got all the security capabilities, of course, people using their devices, and first and foremost, you use files and things like events in Outlook, all the Teams information, chats and channels, and of course, notifications when you have a task due or something like that. So all of this rich knowledge and data is available through Microsoft Graph and the API, and obviously the connectors that make it possible to hook into the different services. But that is taken a step further, building on what's called a semantic index. And let's dive deeper into both of those. So here again, you see the summary of what I just described, what Microsoft Graph is. And it's very important to appreciate Microsoft Graph is already there in every Office 365 tenant that you have, but it's in most cases an untapped fountain of knowledge and information to bringing really all of these informations together. But we can take this further with those connectors to also hook into external data sources. Salesforce, Jira, other SaaS products are available and other connectors are available. So we can also use Graph Data Connect, which is a new connector, to hook into the Azure AI platform and then get all the insights from there. So you see, all this ecosystem suddenly becomes available and Microsoft 365 Copilot can leverage that to hook into all of that rich information. But it's not just, oh yeah, I grab hold of all that data. What Microsoft have done is they created what's called a semantic index and layer that over the top. And that really gives you more meaningful information in the context you are searching. So let's imagine you are asking Copilot to search for I don't know, project 123 in the realms of all your data, and you might have a SharePoint site already. If you then ask a follow-on question, it already appreciates the context you are asking, and therefore it will find relevant information related, for example, to that project. So this semantic index takes it further and builds context around the type of information you are asking for, and therefore helps refining the search results as it describes here. So we will see that a little bit later in action as you see the demos as well. So how can you get access to Microsoft 365 Copilot? So let's have a quick look at the licensing. There are different types of licenses available. This one here is the enterprise tier for Microsoft 365 Copilot, which would be suitable for most organizations, really. You see here the price is per user per month, £24.70. That's the current price right now. What's very important is at the moment, Microsoft 365 Copilot is an annual commitment. At the recent Microsoft Ignite event, there were talks that this might change, that you can pay for it monthly, but right now it's an annual commitment. And you see all the obviously capabilities you get access to. I want to show you the different functionalities in a slightly better view. And also to give you an idea, there's the free Copilot version that you have when you use your browser just through your Windows license. You see here the free version, you get some good functionality, but it's somewhat restricted. And with Copilot for Microsoft 365, you get a lot more. And very importantly, only with the Copilot for Microsoft 365, you get Copilot Studio access. And what Copilot Studio is, we talk about in a little moment. And you see here the Microsoft Graph grounding and the enterprise-grade data protection. Those were the things I showed you on the previous slide, how Graph and the connectors all play a part in all of this. So that's really the key functionality that you want to look out for. So hopefully that makes sense when we talk about the licensing. So I mentioned Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio really takes the idea, the concept of Copilot further, because now you can build your very own capabilities. You can build your own Copilots. You connect to your own data. You can create and orchestrate logics and workflows to really create functionality that's meaningful to you. But also it helps you to still manage and control access to the different data sources. So it's still grounded on all the security principles that there is to have. So really, if you want to build your own Copilot functionality, Copilot Studio is your solution there. And we have a demo later to show you some great stuff. Okay, so I mentioned the event Microsoft Ignite already. We have had lots of information from Microsoft Ignite. If you want to use your browser and search for Microsoft Ignite Book of News, we can also share the link afterwards. You see all the changes and all the news that have come out at the Microsoft event, and basically in regards to Copilot, there are two new things that are announced. The first one is called agents in Microsoft 365, and you see here you get different agents. You get agents in SharePoint. There is an interpreter which is now built in to help you with speech-to-speech interpretation in meetings. So a bit of a voice assistant and translation. The employee self-service agent, that's currently in private preview, so not quite yet ready, but I'm sure this will be really useful. And then other agents that are in public preview already, for example, real-time meeting notes taking and some project management functionality in Planner. And the other big thing was Copilot Actions, and that's what we want to show you. Later, or we show you the agent actually. Copilot Actions is in private preview, so that's also something that will be coming out. So hopefully that's useful, and as we see, Microsoft continuously evolve the Copilot ecosystem further with more and more functionality. So we jump now into the section where we go into different demos. First of all, I'll play a quick video here on how Copilot works in Microsoft Teams. And then we go into a live demo and show you some Copilot in action. So here in this video, that's a Microsoft video talking about Copilot in Microsoft Teams. So you see here somebody send out a meeting invite. There's a new functionality now. You can, if you can't attend the meeting, maybe you are double booked, you can follow the meeting. And on the top left now here in your feed, you see that the meeting is in progress and you can follow it. You can see what content is shared. And once the meeting is completed, you see here, Copilot has summarized the meeting, created meeting notes, and also called out tasks with attribution of individual people. And you see here on the right-hand side, you can have, with the Copilot, you can have a conversation about the meeting and Copilot, so you can ask questions, what solutions were discussed in the meeting, and Copilot will tell you very well and makes a reference to the transcript as the annotation to refer back to it. During the meeting, you can also use Copilot to say maybe you've joined the meeting late, so it will recap the meeting for you. You see, you get the key bullet points there. And it already suggests other questions you might want to ask, or you ask your very own question, and it summarizes everything that you've been asked for in regards to what has been said already. So really useful, makes meetings far more interactive, but also you can participate in a meeting far more actively. You can listen closely to what is being said, because yeah, it's just a much better way, because if you then have questions, you can always go back to them. So you saw there was a lot going on in the meeting itself. With Copilot, you see here for the recap, for example, you see how the video plays. You see on the left-hand side where people have spoken, so you can jump to a specific speaker. That kind of functionality was already available in Microsoft Stream when you go back on an existing meeting. But all the other Copilot functionality is now all summarized here. So here are the meeting notes, there's the follow-up task. And again, the Copilot itself, you can ask questions. For example, if you want something in tabular format, what are the pros and cons? It will do all of those things. So really, really great way to interact with the content and what has been said to really go back over this and pull out the key information relevant to you. Right, so we move on to the live demo now, and Jamie will take you through some of the key functionalities and some of the other Copilots.
Perfect, thanks Bjorn. Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Jamie. I'm one of the modern work consultants that works across the sort of the collaboration suite at Node4. Today, what we're going to be showing you is sort of a live demonstration of Copilot in some of the M365 applications, just to show you and give you a bit of a flavor as to how Copilot can be used in a straightforward day-to-day situation and scenario, but also how it can create graphics and designs for if you are a sort of communications design marketing element. So what I'll do is I'll start off by showing you how it can be used within a Microsoft 365 application. So the first element we're going to look at the moment is a demonstration of how it can be used and interacted with existing Word documents that reside in your organization, and how it can look up data, and how it can do that. So I appreciate some people and different organizations are at different stages of Copilot, their knowledge, interaction, usage, and piloting. So taking it back to basics as such, once you have Copilot enabled and available in your environment like we do in our demo environment at the moment, once you're in an application, you'll notice Copilot sits on the top ribbon. If I engage in Copilot, what it'll do is it'll pop up an additional window for me where I can start to engage Copilot direct from the application itself. So you'll notice it provides me some prompts that Microsoft are trying to preempt. What is it you want to know or potentially find from the existing document, if there are any prompts already? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it a specific prompt, and what I'm going to ask it to do now is I want it to summarize key specific information from this user guide at the moment. So normally where a typical end user would do control finds, try and search specific content and find different elements, and it may be a 5 to 10 minute task. What you can do with Copilot is you can provide it a one summary prompt of what you want. So what I'm going to show you now is that I'm asking Copilot, based on the product specification I've got for an organization, a fictional organization that we have, and a lot of content that resides here already. I'm going to ask it to create me a user guide to instruct me and will help an end user with their purchase of a bike. So I've already preempted and created my prompts for demonstration purposes, and I'm asking it to give me a product overview of the product for a user guide to sell and help an end user or a customer purchase. Once I've created my prompt, I'll pop it into the Ask Me Any Questions portfolio. I click Send, and what you'll notice now, Copilot is interacting and reviewing the document information that's available. It's summarizing it and it's pulling the information together. One good thing about Copilot is it looks at data that it has access to within your environment. It will also note any references it's pulled it from or any documentation for you. So if I copy this information now and pop it into a fresh document, you'll notice it provided me the output that I want. So I asked it to create me a user guide for a customer that will include in their product purchase and help them make an informed decision for my e-bike company. It's provided me a product overview, key features, design features, maintenance support. And what you'll also notice is Copilot also tries to prompt you for any additional information that you might have missed with your original one or additional features. So you'll notice at the bottom, we've got prompts here. We've got an option to add troubleshooting tips, include any safety guidelines. And if I select these, you'll notice Copilot, again, it prompts and creates an updates for us. The key thing with Copilot is we always say, try and keep it conversational, keep it two-way communication and treat it as if it's another person. It's there to assist you and streamline and get you to those ideas quicker. And that's just again a quick short example as to, based on existing information and documentation, how Copilot can go in, withdraw and retain information to create a secondary document. So what would normally take you a small significant time to capture and obtain all that information, Copilot is doing that instantly. And what you're also guaranteed at a level of is it eliminates sort of manual human intervention error, but it's also grabbing the information from its source as well. So there is one version of the truth when you are doing all of this. So what I'll do now is I will show you another example as to how Copilot can work within Microsoft Word before we go across to the design element. So within our demo environment, we have existing technologies, documentation that resides here. So what I'm going to do now is there are existing worksheets based on, again, the fictional e-company. So I'm going to go to Copilot, and what I'm going to do is ask it to, apologies, I froze out. So I'm going to provide it a prompt for a different type of command now. So I'm going to ask Copilot and instruct it what its job is to do, what role it's playing to achieve the best output for me within this prompt. So I'm explaining to Copilot you're an electrical bike product expert working on a large bike provider. Using specific documentation that already resides in our environment, please provide me a statement of work for this product. So what Copilot is going to do now is it's going to look at the specific documentation that I've signposted it to. I've used name references as to where that documentation is and what it will be called. And it will bring the information back for me. Again, it's provided it in a logical structured format. I've not had to go and look for that data. I've not had to search Teams, emails, documentation. It's pulled it back for me because I provided it a specific response prompt to obtain the best output. Again, you'll notice Copilot offers some additional prompts to look at. Do you want to include certain other features? But what I'll do is I'll copy the prompt so the response so you can see exactly what it's returned for me. Obviously, I mentioned the prompt is to provide me a statement of work for my fictional company for the e-bike data sheet. It's looked at specific data that resides in my organization and it's pulled it back for me. The concept of this sort of demonstration is to show you how quick data can be returned and its accuracy and how it can look at that existing data. If you had additional templates or company branding, it could also signpost, and you can also pre-populate templates for those purposes as well. So there are further steps to streamline and create documentation, etc. So again, it's a short and sweet demo for the purpose of the timing that we've got today to show you this and go through the information. But the next element, which I find is quite a powerful tool, and as I mentioned, we're going to show you a design element and Copilot's ability to create graphic images very quickly, very promptly, and very effective to what your prompts are. So Copilot has the ability to create graphic images for you. And what I'm going to do is from the centralized Copilot Microsoft page, I'm going to ask Copilot to create me a logo featuring a whimsical Microsoft logo character that represents different technologies. I'm providing it specific information that I want it to look at, so documents, laptop, mobile phones, or the clouds. I'm asking it what I want the image to potentially display. So some characters waving, looking happy, and a friendly, inviting image. I'm asking it to use branding that I already have in my environment. How do I want it to be displayed? And what style I want it to present it in. Again, a short, sweet prompt. Copilot saying, okay, great. I'll take a look, see what I can do. So Copilot has an element to it which is called Designer. You can see here that it loads. So what would have taken me a minute, 30 seconds to type up and create, you can see here that Copilot's within a matter of seconds has created sort of some useful, dynamic and powerful graphic imagery as to what can be achieved. So what may have taken someone potentially hours to produce, it's now enhanced and streamlined that person's ability to do more or got them to a certain step at a certain stage. As I said, Copilot, you always treat it as a two-way conversation. If it's not quite right, ask it to do something. Microsoft will preempt you to do certain things or ask certain questions that you may not have thought about. Additionally, you can ask it to change certain things. So if I wasn't quite happy with the color, I could ask it to change the color. If I wanted it to use a certain brand theme, I could ask a certain theme to use, and it'll recreate that image for you using the prompts and adjustments you're asking. Again, just to show you the dynamic and the speed of how it can create it, I'm asking it to create me a different image now, a different piece of imagery to for a different purpose, of a futuristic boardroom full of eager sales professionals. Again, it's to show you the speed and the dynamics of how it can create the imagery at the click of a button, essentially. What would take a significant period of time to produce, you can now get to that first stage of your idea very quickly. Again, it preempts certain prompts that you may want to include. If I select one of these, it pre-populates it for me. I select and it moves on and goes again. Saying here's an updated images. Let's take a look. Again, in the space of sort of 5 to 10 seconds, we've got the image and the output for us. It makes the adjustments. The next step is, well, how do I get these images from Copilot as they are now? You can select the images, they zoom in, and you can download direct to your computer. If you're not happy with some of the wording, the images, the logos, again, you can make the relevant adjustments or adjustments to the prompts to get the right output that is needed for that. Again, appreciate it is sort of a quick whirlwind stop of how Copilot can be used across one of the Microsoft 365 apps of Word and how it can retrieve and divulge data to get to the output quicker for you. But also, again, using Copilot Cloud Page to create dynamic content visualizations and just how it can be used across different parts of the organization. That's it from me for the quick demonstration in terms of the 365 piece. What I'll do now is I'll hand back over to Bjorn to go through the next phase of the presentation, and we'll come back to the agents shortly.
Amazing, JB. Thank you very much for the demo. That was great to see all the different functionalities and capabilities we have there. It really changes the way we work, and to give our audience a bit more of an understanding of what are the different use cases that there are. We've got here a slide of a few use cases, but to really appreciate the value journey, first of all, I wanted to share this with you. So if you look at what Copilot can do for you as an individual, so if we work our way up from the bottom up through the organization, so the individual value, the Copilot functions that you have, you already seen the basic prompts, meeting recaps that we've shown you. It can do that to summarize an email, but also to create content as Jamie has shown there. At a departmental level, we can really help this to really improve how you as a department work. So we mentioned Copilot Studio already. You can create your own copilots to drive automations of certain business processes. You can use it to measure KPIs and do other things. So really help you as a department become more efficient and effective. And all of this rolled up the organizational value. So with those business copilots, with the copilots extending to do process flows, you as an organization all up become far more effective. People can save time. If you look at this cumulatively, you increase the time you can spend with your clients. So client and customer engagement will increase, the quality of information will improve, and all the time saving means you save time on mundane tasks, and us humans, your workforce, which is a high value quality asset, can focus on the real complex tasks and dealing with clients, interacting with clients directly. So really you see the way we can help you change how you operate as an organization takes us to a new level. So ultimately you grow value, and this is the thing. Yes, a Copilot license comes at a cost, but ultimately the value you generate by using it, giving your workforce this tool to operate in a better, more efficient way, gives you that return on investment. So what are those other use cases we kept talking about? So recapping a meeting, we've just seen in the demo, in Outlook, summarizing an email thread. You've seen this being used in documents. So drafting an email, summarizing an email thread. Sometimes you have this scenario where lots of people reply to an email chain and then it branches out because somebody else replied to an email that was sent three emails earlier. So suddenly your email responses, replies branch out. So you can use it to summarize an entire thread regardless how people responded. Summarizing documents, we've seen Jamie do that, summarizing documents and then creating new content. You can do the same if it's about different topics and projects. Imagine you are just in the Office 365 portal. You can say, oh, what have we got about a certain project? And it will find emails, I don't know, Excel files, Word documents, whatever is there. And the important thing is what's all the content that you have access to. It will never show you content you shouldn't or wouldn't already have access to. It just helps you find the information quicker. It can give you ideas. Jamie showed you this to say, oh, maybe you want to add certain additional information that typically would be useful in the same context. Helping, of course, to write content. Um, what did other people say about a certain topic? Again, using it in the context of Teams or Outlook, revising content. We've seen this, and even translation. Wouldn't forget that. It can absolutely translate content in many of the common languages. So yeah, really, really great use cases to help you as an individual and as an organization to really improve. So we jump over now, Jamie, to the next live demo. You've got to show us the Copilot agents, which I'm really looking forward to as well.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. So obviously, the last sort of demonstration was around the M365 applications and how it can be used in a day-to-day business aspect. But what we wanted to show you for a couple of minutes was Copilot agents and how they can be used as an organization to streamline processes, whether that be individual or departmental or entire organization processes. So the key thing to sort of iterate is that Copilot is more your assistant for your day-to-day job. It's grounding your data for your meetings, Outlook, and all your other M365 sort of applications and aspects. Whereas where Copilot agents differ is they're essentially your experts in your business processes. So you provide agents and they have their own instructions to do. They have their own knowledge and they're designed to work for you in your business process to make sure it sits and suits. So what we're going to show you now is how quick and easy it can be done to create an agent. So an agent can be created directly and it's built within what's known as Copilot Studio within the Copilot ecosphere. So from the Copilot Studio homepage, what I can do is I can see the add item here. So if I select add an item, it offers me what type of extension do I want to do. Do I want to create a new agent or do I want to add a new action? Actions are included in agents and there's certain things and tasks that are being asked to do with an agent. So I'll start off by asking it to create me a new agent. And there's two ways that this can be done. We can do it direct from a configuration page, or alternatively, if you want to use Copilot again as to try and interact and get the best out of it, to try and automate it as best as possible from your thoughts and ideas, you can do that from this page here in the agents page. So it's asking you to start a conversation on what it is you want to achieve and what you want to do. So we'll start off by providing it with some instructions, advising that you are a virtual project manager assistant for a drone project. You help with answering questions on the project from the documents we've shared with you, product specifications, error codes, SOPs, and more. So we're providing the agent and Copilot a slight overview is what it is the role is looking to achieve and what it has access to and what it's going to do. Copilot then interacts looks at this, determines, says, okay, based on what information I know and is in our environment, you'll notice on the right-hand side now, it's provided some instructions as to what it should do. So it acts as a virtual project assistant for a drone project. It'll answer questions about a project and documents shared. It'll provide accurate, detailed responses based on the information available. It will maintain a professional tone, and it'll ensure that information provided that is up to date. But you'll notice that the prompt that sits in the middle of the screen is they're asking you a question as well. So how does naming the project Drone Project Assistant, does that work for you? And you can, again, create it, make it conversational. You could say looks good. And what it'll do, it'll take your response and say, okay, we'll name it Drone Project Assistant. That looks fine. But it's asking, now let's refine the instructions further. It's there as a guide to try and create, if you're not sure on the configuration or the technical side of things is what you want, it's there and it's guiding you through the process. So what I'll do is I'll ask it to be clear, concise, and avoid long answers where possible, and refer to primary knowledge that we've shared with it. And if it doesn't know the answers, then refer them to the drone delivery project manager as a person. Provide that response back. Wait for it to update. Again, it's asking another question back to create the agent itself. So it's saying what should be emphasized or avoided in the response. Again, I'll provide it a prompt and it'll take that next step. It's asking how do you want it to talk? Again, we'll say we want it to be friendly and professional. And once you've provided enough information and we're happy with the starting blocks of the agent, what we can do is we can select the create option. But what I'll do is Copilot agents can take up to 10 minutes to create. So what I've already done is I've pre-configured an agent from the document library, and you notice that it sits here. So when we click into this, we can see the conversation and information that's prompted. So it's created an agent called Project Drone Assistant. It gives it a description, and all the instructional information is already provided there that was generated from our studio prompt. It provides the starter prompts as to what we can achieve or what information it may want to look at. But more importantly, it's quite key, is the knowledge and the actions panes. So we can add any actions that it wants to do, and we can create connections. So an example being in this knowledge section here, if we want to draw knowledge from a certain project, if you use a ring-fence SharePoint site that is for an individual project, or you use Teams for that aspect, you can pinpoint it to that team to look and obtain that knowledge from. So I'd enter the URL, select add, and that is the URL it would look at for that information for that project. The other element that is quite key to the agent's processes is all around the actions piece. So what is it you want it to do? And a key thing with agents is obviously they are there for business processes. So its capabilities allow you to action things and interact with things that are in your environment. So it can make changes to files, it can change file names, it can edit certain things if you use SharePoint lists. It can make alterations to anything it can connect to in the Microsoft environment. You can tell it what to do. Again, if there are any Microsoft technical people, it works in quite a similar way to how Power Automate would, and it enhances some of those technologies to do and automate tasks within the agent. And the good thing about the agents is if I created this one personally for me and it worked for me, but it might work for the department or the team, I can obtain the URL for this agent and I can share it with the team so that they can also use it. Once you've created it and you've created all your prompts, you'll notice how Copilot sits on the home screen I'll go across to this one. You've got your agent and your prompts in the middle. It will sit similar to this, and you have the ability to flick through them. So we've got Copilot, visual creators, and you'll have Drones Assistant on the side. And it will sit in 6 tiles like this, and you can select the prompts for that task. So it's easily accessible from the Copilot main screen. You can test it by asking it to give you a product overview. It'll take a few seconds to adjust, and you'll notice on the right-hand pane in a moment, it will start to flick through and create that test for you. So you can test it live as you're running through. And you can see there it's provided our prompt output for our system. Once we publish, as I mentioned, it will sit in this right-hand panel where you can see Copilot and Visual Creator as our Copilot Drones Assistant Manager. And I will hand you back over to Bjorn after that sort of quick sort of walkthrough, talk through as to how Copilot agents work, how quick they can be initiated, and just some of the things that they can do in terms of business processes and that can be personalized.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jamie. Once again, that's again great information here. So with all of these things we've seen, the question is, how can we help you to measure success with all the Copilot functionality? So measuring success, Microsoft have for Copilot 2 great sources of information. One is the Microsoft Copilot dashboard that was embedded in Microsoft Viva, but it's now also immediately available as a standalone functionality. So the dashboard can really help look at which teams are using it, so the adoption rate, what are people using it for, how many licenses are used, how many active Copilot users do I have. And again, it really helps, especially if you only buy Copilot licenses for a smaller number of users, to maybe repurpose licenses to alternative users if there isn't enough uptake, or drive and introduce a user adoption program to really help the existing users to leverage more of that. So the Copilot dashboard is absolutely part of what you should be using to get the most value out of Microsoft Copilot 365. The other side of the coin here is the Copilot administration. So assigning licenses, and you see this is now built into the native Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Of course, you can bulk assign license to users, and again, you see different adoption even here on the Admin Center side. So you see at the bottom there's a snip of a graph there, the adoption by app, for example. So again, you can really target users there and how to leverage that. Of course, you can use role-based access control to assign who can administer this Copilot administration aspect. You can give that a very certain role. It doesn't need to be a global admin, so you can offload that to a specific admin role. So with all of that said, I'm sure there will be lots of questions. I've seen a few questions have already been raised. We've got obviously Nick answering the Q&As. If we have anything that we want to ask now, if not, we move on to the next topic. I give people a quick second because we're almost at time as well. I don't know if there are any questions that want to come through.
We've got a question in the chat, Bjorn, from Will. If I upload documents to be reviewed / used by Copilot, how do I ensure the document is not accessible outside of my organization?
Yeah, so the access is not changed and the permissions are not changed by Copilot. If you internally have access to the document, then Copilot will be used as a source for you to interrogate it. The sharing externally is something you do separately. If you have shared the document externally, then people can see it, or with I don't know, Entra B2B users, so guests that you've invited to collaborate on the document. But if that's not the case, then the document is not being accessible externally. So that's very clean, black and white.
Yeah, I think the key thing to note on that is obviously, as Bjorn mentioned before, it's referred to as semantic index in terms of its security boundaries for Copilot. But first and foremost, primarily, it abides by your RBAC structure and how you permit your users and they have access to that data.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it also follows up on your information protection. So if you do have sensitive information labels applied or data loss prevention policies, it also follows suit with those as well. So whatever you have structured in your environment, it will follow those guidelines. It won't deviate from them.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Jamie. I'm conscious we're out of time. We will answer questions that we haven't answered right now after the meeting. Absolutely, we will come back to you on those. There's one last point I wanted to make. So what's next? How can we Node4 help you to move forward? So we have a few different offerings. The first one is our Copilot readiness assessment, to all the things we just mentioned about who has access to which files and are you ready as an organization and so on and so forth. So we have a readiness assessment that we can work with you to get you ready for Copilot adoption. Then we also offer Copilot vision and value workshops. Really, what's the art of the possible? How could we help you solve individual business problems in your organization? So we do this really tailored for your individual needs. We can run individual workshops specific on data security. So with your security team, and of course you as individual departments, but data security, we wanted to make sure we have an offering that targets all of those questions in a specific workshop. And then, of course, you saw the great stuff Jamie did with Copilot Studio. We can fully customize a Copilot engagement to say, if you have a specific use case and a business process, you would like us to help craft and create a Copilot solution for you, a specific Copilot, then we can absolutely build that for you as well. So with all of that said, I hope there was a lot of useful information there for you. Please don't be shy, reach out, follow up with us if there's any more questions. You find us on LinkedIn and you've got our contact details. So with that said, thank you very much for joining the webinar and enjoy the rest of your day.